Hi everyone, and welcome back to my kitchen. If you love chocolate, caramel, and pecans, you are going to love today's chocolate turtle cake. I love how all the different flavors come together to create one incredible tasting, delicious cake. So for this recipe, I'm going to be using my basic chocolate cake. I already prepared 1.5 portions of my original recipe, so I have 3 8-inch cake rounds. I'm going to include that recipe down in the video description box below. I also made a batch of my homemade caramel sauce. This stuff is so good and super easy to make. You guys are going to love it. I'm going to use it for the inside. I'm also going to make a milk chocolate buttercream to just bring everything together. Let me show you how it's made. And because I already have my chocolate cake layers done, I have my caramel sauce, I'm going to show you guys how to make the milk chocolate buttercream. So I have 2 cups of unsalted butter and I've softened these at room temperature. I'm going to place them into my mixer bowl. And the secret to getting a really good buttercream is to whisk the butter first. So I like to whisk it anywhere from 6, sometimes even 8 minutes, and scraping down the sides of that bowl often to make sure that butter is really light and fluffy, and it should actually be almost white in color. And while my butter is whisking away, I melted 1 cup of milk chocolate chips. You want to melt these a little bit ahead of time to allow that chocolate to cool down. You don't want it to be too hot when you add it to the butter. And then into my whisked butter, I'm going to add that melted milk chocolate, pour it right in, and then mix this all together. And now for the rest of my ingredients, I'm going to add in a teaspoon of vanilla extract, a 1/4 teaspoon of salt, and 2 to 3 cups of confectioner's sugar. So once you add the confectioner's sugar, you want to start the mixer out on a slow speed so the sugar doesn't go flying everywhere. And then once you've added all the sugar, just keep whisking for 3 to 4 minutes until you have a smooth and fluffy buttercream. All right, moving on from the buttercream, let's talk about the filling. So I have 1 cup of chopped pecans, and to that I'm going to add about 1 cup of my homemade caramel sauce. I made this last night and I let it chill in the refrigerator so it is on the thicker side. And then just grab a spatula and fold that together. All right, so my buttercream is done, my caramel pecan filling is ready, and now I'm going to prep the cake layers. So I'm going to grab a long sharp knife and then just level off the top so we have nice even cake layers. And I made these last night, so once they cooled off completely, I just wrapped them tightly with some plastic wrap and kept them stored at room temperature. If you want to make the cake layers ahead of time, like longer, like 2 or 3 days in advance, you'll just need to refrigerate them. And before I add any filling or frosting, I'm going to soak the cake layers generously with a simple syrup. So for this recipe, all I did was combine 1 cup of hot water with 1/2 cup of white granulated sugar, and then just stir it around until that sugar is completely dissolved. And then I transferred some of the frosting into a pastry bag, and then I'm using the star tip. It doesn't matter which one you use. I'm just gonna pipe a little barrier ring of frosting around the edges, and this is gonna help keep all that caramel filling on the inside. Add about 1/2 of that filling, and we're just gonna spread it evenly to the edges. Add little dollops of that frosting on top. And then I'm going to repeat the same process for the remaining cake layers. Soak them up nice and generously. And then for the top layer, I'm going to soak the cake first before I invert it onto the cake. And then it's time to frost the top and the sides of this cake. I'm going to do a light crumb coat on this one first. So once I apply a light coat of frosting, I'm going to put it into the refrigerator and let it chill for about 20 to 30 minutes, and then we'll come back to add the final layer of frosting and garnish the top. And once that crumb coat layer sets, I'm going to finish frosting the outside of the cake. And for a little garnish on the sides, I'm going to grab this little frosting comb and create a little pattern on the sides. And then to transfer this cake onto a cake stand, I'm going to slide a large knife underneath and then a little flat spatula on the other side. Lift this cake up. I've transferred some of my caramel sauce into a Ziploc bag, and I'm going to drizzle some of the caramel down the sides of the cake. And that's it, guys, for my chocolate turtle cake. Time to dig in and enjoy. Going to get a little bit of everything, but I'm really looking forward to that caramel pecan filling. It looks so good. This cake is just perfection. I absolutely love how all the different flavors and textures come together to create one incredible cake. I love the crunchiness from the pecans in there, and then that caramel sauce combined with that really delicate and moist chocolate cake. And then you add to that the milk chocolate buttercream, and this cake is just out of this world. So much flavor. You guys are going to love it. If you love chocolate, you have to give this cake a try. For the full recipe, just head on down into that video description box. I'll also leave a link for the chocolate cake and for the homemade caramel sauce. Hope you guys enjoyed this cake recipe all season long, and I'll see you next time.